Hello everyone. Before we start today's video, if you could all do me a solid and lightly tap the like button, perhaps share the video about and leave a comment. If you are not subscribed, subscribe as well. It would greatly help this channel. Thank you very much. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, Subdate 221114.7. Over the weekend I issued 14 citations for premature Moistmas celebrations. If I have to issue one more, I will start demoting to ranks not yet conceived by Subfleet. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about something that I could only find a couple sources on. We have one from libs of TikTok, we have something from MSN, but the main bulk of any coverage comes from Redux and Duckpin. I've never heard of Duckpin, and Redux I tangibly, vaguely, kinda-ish know something about. So there might be an element of this being reductio ad absurdum, but there's a video to accompany it, which is quite disturbing. And this involves a teacher in America. Now the Redux image that originally started this, let's say, ball rolling, was via a tweet. A trans-identified male teacher in Maryland has been placed on indefinite leave after troubling information surfaced regarding his conduct with students. Willa Hoard had unmonitored communication with LGBTQ+ students who called him mother. Is it bad that I know someone with that haircut? It looks a lot better on that person than it does on Willa Hoard. My favourite response to that tweet, which is archived and linked down below, is, "I don't trust anyone with that haircut, to be quite honest." Along with someone else saying, "Who called him mother? This made me gag. How horrible, sinister and dread-inducing." But a question underneath that, which does raise some questions. So nobody these days gets police vetted before being left with minors? What the actual fudge? I'm not as familiar with state law for Maryland when it comes to background checks on those that work around children. In the UK, we're very strict on it. Very strict. Any indiscretions? Yeah, you're done. Which is why you hear about so many female teachers not getting prison time for having inappropriate contact with children. It's called something else, but I get demonetized if I say it as such. So to the Redux article. Trans teacher placed on indefinite leave after disturbing videos surface. A trans-identified male high school teacher in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, has been placed on indefinite leave, blah 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 from title. Willa Hoard, also known as Billy, was a social studies teacher at Chesapeake High School. When I first saw Chesapeake, my initial thought went straight to Hannibal and perhaps this might be a Poe. But then, we've covered a few this year that, no, they're not Poes. And ran the school's GSA organization. GSA is Gay Straight Alliance. On October the 3rd, he was placed on indefinite leave by the school with few details provided to parents at the time. By the way, the article that I'm citing, I'm reading verbatim on purpose. It is not about me disrespecting the person being spoken of. I am showing you what they say and reading directly from that. Please don't be that person. On November the 2nd, video footage began circulating on Twitter from inside Hoard's classroom. The videos originated on Facebook, first posted by a concerned mother. We have one of those videos, by the way, courtesy of libs of TikTok. We'll get to that soon. In one video, two students are seen laying on the ground together, with one grinding on or humping the other in the middle of a class lecture. Another clip shows one student sucking at the stomach of another student. Both clips took place while Hoard was present in the room, apparently unconcerned by the behaviour. This classroom was labelled a safe space for LGBTQ+ students by the school at the direction of the GSA. So whether a student was in class or not, if they reported to a teacher that they needed a safe space, they could go to Hoard's classroom. What a load of bollocks. And incredibly disturbing. This shouldn't be permitted in schools. Also, they don't need an entire room for a safe space. If you want to go calm down somewhere, go sit on a step somewhere. Have your little temper tantrum and calm yourself down. Perhaps get yourself a warm cup of tea and a biscuit. I mentioned that video. I'm not entirely sure I can play it based on that description alone. I've seen the video, by the way. It's all heavily blurred, so you can't actually see what they're doing. But I'm not sure I want to play it because YouTube are incredibly sensitive. But I will link in the pinned comment the sources you need if you want to go and see that video. This kind of behaviour in any room of a school for children is inappropriate. We can all agree on that. So a parent finally finding out, no doubt seeing the video footage and going, nah fam, they're getting blasted, the school's getting blasted, the GSA is getting blasted, which by the way set you back a few years. I'm going to blast all of you because this is not acceptable in any safe space. But the sexual behaviour Hoard allowed in his class was just one of many disturbing components of the story. Hoard had apparently been communicating with students through unmonitored channels, in flagrant violation of safeguarding ethics. In some screenshots, students are seen referring to Hoard as mum or mother. Accompanying that is an image of Discord. I like Discord, I use it for my patrons. No minors on my server, and there'll be certainly no discussions or imagery of such things. Because children are haram, and I don't like them, okay? At least one concerned parent had taken snaps of Discord and Instagram conversations that she had found of Willa Hoard having with students to school principal Jay Yor earlier this year. But nothing was done until the videos began to circulate on Facebook. Only then did they bother to act on this. Because once the guilt was finally laid bare, the school realised, ah shit, the optics of this are not going to make us look good. I can't help but wonder why. Could it be because this teacher, this assistant, whoever this Willa Hoard is failing to safeguard students and is also allowing them to partake in activities they should not be partaking in? They're children. They should be educated or thinking they're dragons, or wishing they were taming a dragon, or slaying a dragon. Just dragons, really. I think they're cool, okay? Especially the ones that breathe poison. Oh yes. You gonna meow, Tiltil? Meow? I love when you hear that back, or when you're watching this video or listening to my audio, you're gonna hear some over-compressed audio of a cat meowing because the microphone won't pick her up otherwise. On October the 3rd, parents and guardians received a letter from Principal Yor. Here is a picture of the letter. Dear parents and guardians, I am writing to let you know that social studies teacher Mrs. Willa Hoard will be away from our building indefinitely. While Mrs. Hoard is out, a substitute teacher and members of our social studies team will be providing instruction and support to students. I want to assure you that our commitment to deliver high quality instruction and support for all of our students has not changed. Members of our administration and resource staff will continue to assist to help ensure that occurs. Interesting letter. Let us continue. The letter failed to address the video showing what had occurred during Hoard's GSA meeting. While it stated a substitute who will provide high quality instruction and support will be introduced, the letter did not contain any plan to guarantee student safeguarding, nor did it provide any indication of wrongdoing. That's because, to you at that time, they had done nothing wrong. It wasn't until the guilt was laid fully out there for all to see and admire would they then be in a position of, oh snap, we owe an apology. The news of the extracurricular communications with students as well as the leave was then reported by Brian Griffiths, an independent Maryland journalist, on October the 3rd. Griffiths also wrote about Hoard's life when Hoard began transitioning earlier in the year. In February on Medium, Willa Hoard wrote, so it turns out I'm a woman. I guess to be more specific, I'm a woman of the transgender variety, which is to say that I'm a woman who was mistaken for a little boy at birth, whose family and society ran with that since my body matched the expectations they had, first for a boy and later for a man, who only truly realized my own womanhood a few years ago, and who is just now telling the world that, well-intentioned as I am sure it was, we were all wrong about my gender. Griffiths had also reported about a mother at the school who had clashed with Willa Hoard over safeguarding concerns, and as a result of her critiques, was subjected to an attempted peace order. As far as I'm aware, a peace order is akin to that of a restraining order. The mother in question is called Christy Rush. She has been publicly criticising the school's GSA after seeing posts that threatened disciplinary repercussions for dead-naming and misgendering students or staff. They deemed dead-naming a form of sexual harassment, and parents who confronted admin about the policy were told that disciplinary action for the listed offences was discussed with the GSA and determined on a case-by-case basis. Means assessed? X to doubt. As her daughter was a GSA member, Christy Rush then went through her phone and computer out of concern. She then found the posts on Discord, Instagram, and Facebook. Her daughter was then immediately withdrawn from the school, reporting that after she joined the club her behaviour began to change. This led to Christy Rush posting several statements regarding Willa Hoard and the GSA on her Facebook, which includes videos of activity, none of which I can show you. When Willa Hoard was criticised at school board meetings, would anyone like to take a wild guess how Willa Hoard responded? You're right. If you criticise or show any concerns about anything that happens in these GSA meetings and safe spaces, you're transphobic. Willa Hoard also employed some rather shady tactics by encouraging student members of the GSA to call the police to conduct wellness checks on Christy Rush's daughter. On 2 separate instances, they went to Christy Rush's home, as they had received calls that her daughter was suicidal and attempted to harm herself when she was asleep. Since this, Willa Hoard, at I Am Billy Now on TikTok and Billy Hoard on Instagram, has gone private. I wonder why. And there is still speculation that messages are being exchanged with students from the GSA and Willa Hoard, none of which is remotely acceptable. Or Billy, I don't know which one is the correct name, I'm only citing the articles. You, at I Am Billy Now, were in a position of trust and held considerable power and sway over very young and easy to influence students. Do not misuse that to push your own agenda, which is what it comes across as, and don't try to appeal to authority because you yourself identify as trans. You are not an authority, you are a cog in a wheel, but at this point you come across as a very manipulative, deceptive, attention-seeking plonker, one that should not be allowed near children, not for the time being and not until you prove you are not a threat to them.